Hi everyone, welcome to another masterclass, our 18th one and the last one we are doing this year. This time for this masterclass, we have got the best bits of every masterclass we have done this year. It's like a masterclass best of this masterclass we are doing this month. This way, you can check the best bits of every masterclass without going through full detail of watching each and every masterclass we have done on the year 2022. But also, if you want to check them in full detail, you can always check them on the description of this video. We have added all of the masterclasses we are presenting today and we have done this year. And with that said, if you are watching this for the first time or if you have watched some previous masterclasses, we would like to thank you. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the views that are growing for Hi Masterclass. We want you to keep watching us in 2023. We have a lot of more Hi Masterclasses prepared for you. And with that said, stay with the highlights of 2022 and hope to see all of you in 2023. Okay? Stay with the video and take care. Thank you all.
Closes our application and not being able to see a product or click on a button to buy that product, and opening our the other store that also sells the same product. So at the end of the day, bad performance naturally will mean less a worse interaction with the user, and we are going to lose users on our application, or we may be creating more stress to our users, and naturally nobody wants that. So that's what I'm meaning with this sentence. So personally, when I am experiencing an application, I prefer to have a quick application. So I prefer to do things as quick as possible instead of as pretty as possible.
Enfim, vamos lá, bora lá para a tela que vamos falar um pouquinho agora sobre abrindo o Google Developer Tools. Ok, abrir o Google Developer Tools. Nós temos 3 possibilidades de abrir o Google Developer Tools. Antes de mais, deixa eu só deixar claro aqui que para essa Masterclass eu estarei usando o Windows 11, tá, com o navegador Brave, ok? As pessoas podem utilizar qualquer outro tipo de navegador, a experiência vai ser um pouco diferente, alguns atalhos, né, algumas teclas serão um pouco diferentes também, principalmente se você estiver usando o iOS, né, o Mac, e também no Windows, no próprio Windows também, pode ser que, imagina que você vai abrir o Google Developer Tools pressionando a tecla F12, porém no seu PC, no seu notebook, você precisa segurar a tecla função, a tecla Fn, para dar o F12. Então isso, né, você tem que se atentar, porque tanto o sistema operacional, quanto o setup, quanto o computador pode ser diferente, né, em vários casos, e vai ser diferente, obviamente. Então, vamos lá, bora lá para a tela. Eu preparei uma tela de login, tá? Rapidinho aqui, só para a gente brincar um pouquinho nela, certo? A primeira coisa que eu vou fazer aqui, provavelmente vocês não vai ver eu clicando, né, pressionando o botão F12, mas se eu apertar o botão F12, o Google Developer Tools ele abre, ok? Fechar o Google Developer Tools. Nós temos aqui um xizinho no canto superior direito, onde eu posso fechar o Google Developer Tools. Agora eu vou abrir o Google Developer Tools com um inspect, botão direito do mouse, inspecionar elemento, certo? Você vai abrir de novo o Google Developer Tools. E também temos também a terceira forma de abrir o Google Developer Tools, que é o Ctrl+Shift+I. Você clicando Ctrl+Shift+I também abre o Google Developer Tools, ok? Então essas são as três formas mais, pelo menos aqui que eu conheço, acredito que não tenha outra forma de abrir, mas pode ser que tenha. São as formas mais, são as formas de abrir o Google Developer Tools, ok? Bom, o Google Developer Tools, ele já de primeira vista a gente consegue ver que ele é uma ferramenta que abre do lado direito, desculpa, né? Geralmente do lado direito, pode ser que ele vai abrir na parte inferior, né, do ecrã, né? Ou pode ser também que ele vá abrir fora do ecrã, numa janela separada, que isso daí a gente vai ver posteriormente. Tá?
So, well, as João said, like we are gonna first introducing what it is a UI component. So I will just try to give a brief introduction on the nature and what it is exactly a UI component, and especially why UI components, like the developing UI components, is becoming, I would say, like vital aspect of modern web development and modern web application. So I think we can get started. So with this introduction, I would like to reference this quote that I found online. It's a quote from Facebook. I couldn't find who was the specific person who come up with this quote, so it's just quoted as Facebook. But in my opinion, it's really useful because in only one sentence, it managed to describe perfectly what it is a UI component. So as we can read, it says that components let you split the user interface into independent, reusable pieces and think about each piece in isolation. So in my opinion, I would say like the main keywords to take away from this sentence, from this quote, are independent, reusable, and isolation. Independent, the first one, I would say this word describes the nature of a UI component. It describes like a UI component as an independent entity, I would say. Because like if we think about a UI component, I don't know, we can think about a button, for example. That specific component, in order to exist, it doesn't have to be placed in any broader context. So it doesn't have to be placed in a user interface in order to exist and to perform like certain action. A button, it's in its own nature, it's just a button. So when we think about your component, we can think like as single entities. Then reusable, these other keywords, I would say that this one describes the main objective of a UI component, the main purpose of UI component, which is its own reusability. As we say, we build UI components once and then we reuse them many, many times. So this is the purpose, because then we are gonna reuse them for like in many different user interfaces and in many different scenarios, for example. And then the last one, isolation. These last keywords, I would say that describes more probably like the design during the designing process when you come up with an idea for a UI component. You think about that UI component in its own isolation, like again as its own independent entity, without putting it like in a broader context. So
let's start by talking about icons. This is what icons brought us here today. So I don't know how many of you heard of this. I don't know if this is true. This is a story of this is just a joke, but it's funny nevertheless that at a certain point in time, after finding a floppy disk in the desk, a child asked his father why did he print the 3D icon, the 3D save icon. And it's funny because if we think about the younger generations, and if we think about the icon that we all know that represents the action of saving something, the younger version, most of them don't even know what the object they are seeing on the page, what that object is. They can identify the object, they can identify the action that is aggregated to the object. We know it's a floppy disk, but they don't know it. But they know what that represents, and this is something so curious. And this happens not just with the floppy disk, but with other icons that, for us, nowadays they are so clear about the action, but we don't even have any idea what we are looking at, right? So just a brief going back in time about the iconography. I mean, the first icons to appear in a user interface, it's Xerox that has the credibility of creating the first iconography for their user interface, and these go back to the early 70s. All right, and after that, naturally, other software manufacturers like Apple or Microsoft start grabbing and polishing and creating new icons. They start adding colors to the icons. They create new icons for other actions. They start adding perspective to the icons, the 3D later on. So Apple and Microsoft also gave a huge impulse to these creating icons art. I mean, this is almost like creating art. It's very difficult to, without any words, represent something. Okay, I mean, it's almost impossible for us to find a UI, a user interface nowadays, that don't have at least one icon or two icons. All right, it's almost impossible, and we know for sure because, I mean, if we look at the hieroglyphs from the Egyptians, they didn't use words; they used their own hieroglyphs that are basically icons. We can have a parallel between icons and the hieroglyphs, and they use hieroglyphs. They express themselves through that language. So we know it's a fact that we can communicate without icons. And it's much easier for the human eye to look at something visual. It's easier to understand something that is visual instead of a simple text. Okay, because, for example, if I'm looking at a website that is written in a foreign language, for example, I don't know Chinese at all, but if I go to a Chinese website and they use icons for saving or for going back to the home page, I immediately know what that action means without even knowing a single word of Chinese or something like that. So iconography is very important.
So in these 5 days, what you will get? So basically we'll get the MVP, of course, and then you will get the product vision that is understood by all teams and stakeholders, which is difficult nowadays because sometimes I have experienced a lot of teams don't have the same vision and the same understanding of the goals of the product or the service. So this is going to help you in that. So you're going to have the objectives prioritized. You're going to have the main users, their needs, their frustrations, everything. You will get the most important features of functionalities. You will get the levels of uncertainty in technical and business value for the users as well. and you will have the most important journeys defined for you to create this MVP. And you will have also an incremental delivery plan that is going to be fueled. I love fueled by the MVP concept.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So, hello everyone. So today I will share 16 tips to improve your OutSystems frontend. I don't say that will be the main tips, but in my consideration, I think are 16 important tips. Okay, some of them more technical, another more process, but I think it's important to know what we do at Hi Interactive and how we do it. So, first of all, the atomic concept should be used. Probably if you saw the previously Masterclass this year and in the end of the past year, we talk many times about atomic design and atomic concept. Okay, we are promoting this concept at Hi Interactive and also in our clients. So, when you are designing a screen, implementing a screen, you need to think atomically. This means that you need to follow the concept about elements, components, and screens or sections. Okay, everything in your screen need to be isolated and can be only two types of pieces. HTML elements natives as drop downs, titles, text, buttons that are from your browser, typically are the widgets from the platform. Okay, not everything, but almost 80% are HTML components, native components, and the others components. So not HTML components, we call it components from OutSystems UI, from OutSystems platform, the widgets, and your custom UI components. Okay, so your screen need to be implemented based on this concept. Only components to promote building for the future. OutSystems say this many times, but to be easier, maintain and promote the reusage components. Okay, as you can see in the image, so when you are thinking on a screen, it's like you can remove a piece to implement another feature or add another feature, adding another piece. Okay, something like this.
To install the plugin for Sketch, it's probably the trickiest one to the installation process. So you need to go to the Sketch extensions website and look for OutSystems UI. Basically, the plugins are all in a GitHub project. So, for example, here, if I go here to the extensions page for plugins, if I look for OutSystems, it will be visible here, the results, and this is going to redirect me to the GitHub project where the plugin is placed. And then we have some installation guides here. Basically, you will download the project, will unzip it, and double-click on this file here, and that's it. It's not very user-friendly, but that's the way it works. Luckily, Figma and Adobe XD, it's easier. So, for example, Figma, you can go to the community page of Figma and look for OutSystems UI plugins. So, for example, let me go here. Okay, so you have your menu here on the Figma. Probably you already know. You go to community, and then you search for the plugin, and you will see it here. You just need to hit try it out, and it's going to be installed, and you can start using with the right UI, OutSystems UI Design Kit version. The process for the Adobe XD, it's kind of the same, but the difference is Adobe XD is running on a native application. So you need to go to the Creative Cloud application, go to the stock markets option at the top, and then look for OutSystems UI Plugins. So if I, where is it? Here. So you have your Creative Cloud, you go to stock market, look for plugins, you will find the OutSystems UI plugin here. You can see some information here, and you can click here on the button saying get, and the plugin is going to be installed in your Adobe XD application.
Both are great resources and great libraries, but UIKit do it to its speed in creation. It's a great resource used by designers when we need to build pages and prototypes and create solutions faster. And then here we have some examples we are think are the great references in the market. So about the UI design kits, we have the Material Design UI kit from Google, iOS kit from Apple, and Velocity. It's UI kit mostly about dashboards and this type of graphics. We also have here 3 design systems we think are the best: Material Design from Google, Carbon from IBM, and also Uniform like Huddle's company.
And some conclusions. So let's just talk a bit. What have we learned here? I hope you guys have learned something. I tried to go from simple stuff like creating the chart, making sure we have the data available for the chart, talking a little bit about the source data list input parameter, which is the only mandatory parameter. So you only need to provide label and value to have a chart. But then if you want to customize, of course, you have several ways to do it: CSS, JavaScript, fulfilling out those JSON parameters, those simple input parameters. If you cannot find or if you don't know how to do it, the API has a lot of information. There are a lot of info demos and people asking questions and other people answering. So I think it's kind of easy to find some stuff that are commonly used. So don't be afraid if you have to create a customized chart, because probably someone already did something very like what you have to do. So just browse a bit on the web, try to get some example and try to insert this into your chart. And it was pretty much it. We also saw some examples, just trying to go from something like I said, like basic, just filling out some input parameters like we did on the pie chart, till something like that JavaScript created to have a mouse move event by using the zones that the R-Charts library provides us. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I hope you guys like the presentation, and thank you.
And so when you think about demographics, we think about more in a connection with the behavior. So for example, age might not be important, for example, on a specific persona, but for example, using a cell phone, for example, she uses a cell phone to take notes, can be something that is more valuable to understand the needs, because using a cell phone brings another set of needs to the product. So it has to be adapted to the app or to the service. So so this section also basically the actions that they do, the main activities, and all this information. The bottom half, it's the most important one, which states the needs, the pain points, and the goals. So we rarely add features in this part. So we want to focus on their real needs and goals, and with them we can understand and find opportunities to improve or to create a more specific product, more aligned product with the needs of the user. So you can organize this way. In this case, it's three quadrants, but you can use 4. It depends on your way, but be consistent. And when you try to do the personas, use the same way to present, and not like diverging and doing other kinds of quadrants and everything. So try to be more consistent.
Okay. As you can see, we have, for example, an example here at the bottom for me to recover the passwords, or if I want to create a new user, we can create a new user. Okay, for this scenario, we are requiring a name, an email that is going to be used as a username. I have the password and the confirmation, and in the end, we also add reCAPTCHA confirmation, and basically that's it. This is a very simple application with just a couple of screens. Yeah, and basically in a couple of minutes, this is the demo that of the entire, or almost the entire application that we developed to OutSystems.